Hi, welcome everyone. Welcome, Jay. It's good to have you with us. And we're in the Humanity as Organism Thrives Convergence Room. I'm Haseena Patel, and Dr. Tom Acklin and I are stewards of this convergence room. And Shamima has been our Zoom tech behind the scenes person, website designer. And this is a session about an Akashic Records reading that I'm going to do with the theme of oneness. So we were just discussing how oneness plays a part today. Hold up your mugs. I think Jay has gone to get his mug. It was quite a joke, because here we are, same mugs, and now you've got your mug too. So and oneness is such a great theme for today. So I'll get straight into the Akashic Records reading. You'll just have to give me a minute to open the Akashic Records. The records are now open, and I'll just see what messages come. And the first message that comes is the image of a circle. Oneness is the completion, and it's not in doing, but it's in the being, in the knowing that we are all in the flow of one another, all beings, complete. And it is in the oneness that we tap into our strength and our divine flow. And they're saying that we have so many labels, we have so much that we put on this divine flow, and when we remove all those labels, that is the action of oneness. Just understanding that the words that come to us to describe being in that flow, they're only representations, and they're less than the experience of the oneness, of the flow. Sometimes the words take away, because there are so many different explanations and interpretations of these words. And we get to be in this flow of who we are in truth, and where there is no separation. and just being with that space of no separation, of that, in that space of the flow of who we are. When we come from that space, then all actions lead to the benefit of all of our fellow beings. And it's simply an indication that when we feel that we've got to, I was saying, when we feel that we've got to consider to whose advantage is this? Is this a morally right thing? I have a choice here. All these dualities, when they enter our heads, when we're making a decision, it's simply an indication that we're not in the flow of the oneness, that we're moving into polarity and duality. So there is no choice. There is no advantage and disadvantage. It's all just being in that space of all that is. And there's never any imbalance for anyone, any disadvantage that we've got to correct. As soon as we feel that we have to correct something, or that we have to act as controller, that is, as many of us humans feel that we have to in every moment, making every decision, that is the knowing that we are acting in misalignment from that flow of oneness. And the other message that I'm getting, which relates to that, is there is always enough. There is always abundance. We are always one. Things always work out. And we are always in a cycle. We are always cycling, much like the seasons, that there is nothing that we have to make right as we move from winter to summer, winter to spring, to summer to autumn. And so the cycle continues. And with each change of the season, with each little tilt of the cycle, it actually inspires our evolution. That knowing is a part of knowing our oneness, because when we know that, we don't see that there are two sides of the spectrum, and the darkness is seen for what it is, just the absence of the light. It is not the opposite of the light. It is the birthplace of the light, the coming into of the light. It opens up those crevices and cracks which make it possible for the light to come through. And when that happens, we see the light in everything. And when we feel there is no light, we see the potential of light in that. And that is the flow of oneness, just that knowing that we don't have to see polar opposites. So that's today's message. And if there are any questions, feel free to unmute or type into the chat. I'll just give it a minute.
Since we presenced the idea of our mugs as tribal threads, and I filled my what was coffee full with water, I'd like to ask the records if the water on this planet has any secrets or any skill sets, maybe even, to give us everything that you've just described as the removing the labels as access to the divine and the flow?
That's such an interesting question. Give me a minute. The image that I'm getting is that as the oceans unite us, no matter what continents we're from, as human beings, and all beings on Mother Earth, as the oceans unite us, it's a symbol of our oneness, because which drop of water can say that it's only isolated to one part of the world? Which drop of water can say that it is the one that only flowed in this particular place? That there is always the flow, even when it looks like there is a separation of the water. It is the testimony that the water can spring up from the earth, knowing that it is always there and it's always present, whether we see it or not. It's the knowing of that oneness. It flows inside of us as beings. We're made of water, and it flows in oneness of all else. And even inside of us, as we feel that we're separate beings, we are not, because our beings will nourish the earth, and the earth nourishes the food that we eat. And the food that we eat in turn nourishes not just our beings, but it nourishes the whole world, the whole noosphere, simply just through helping us to configure and hone those things which we call skills, which we give to the world as our unique talents and gifts. It is the water that unites all of us in oneness, and it is the water that we are created of, that we are born of. Even the elements that create the water are one with each other and our planet and beyond. We're all composed of those same elements. We all use them. There is a commonality where we cannot be separated, where we cannot claim anything other than oneness, even from our mouths. As we do that, we are not in separation. Just our actions and our words and thoughts, and the fact that we do have words, thoughts, and actions, we do have the same elements within our beings and on our planet and in the universe. And we certainly have water flowing through as the messenger, as the gift, as the nourisher, as the nourishment. There is evidence of our oneness there. Yes. Thank you for that question. I know we just have a few minutes. If there are any other questions, just feel free. Okay. I'll now close the records. The records are now closed. Thank you for sharing this space with me.